deal, yeah. Well, welcome everybody to the April 17th, 2023 Finance Committee meeting. Just a quick, some quick housekeeping items. If you could please put your cell phone to either mute or vibrate. Anyone wishing to come up and make public comment, please approach that podium, press the light and identify yourself for the record. We have a fairly lengthy agenda today, and we will only be discussing items on that agenda. And with that, I will ask Dr. Aldridge is present. She's on Zoom as she is joining us from Washington, D.C. today. And with that, I will have Jen read the first item on the agenda, please.
Number 6A, application for a bar and grill liquor license application filed with the city clerk's office for Aces Range LLC, doing business as Aces Range, 1505 Pioneer Avenue, Cheyenne, Wyoming.
Staff report.
Mr. Chair, Chris Jones, City Clerk, the bar and grill license application for Aces Range has been reviewed by the applicable city departments in the Wyoming Liquor Division. If approved, this license will fall under the new bar and grill licensing requirements approved by the state of Wyoming that will become effective July 1st, 2023. The clerk's office will not issue this license prior to July 1st, 2023. The new type of bar and grill license will allow 60% of revenue to be derived from food services or entertainment or a combination of both. And I would stand for any questions.
Thanks, Chris. And this is the new license that was just made available through the change with the most recent state legislative session. Is that correct?
Mr. Chair, that is correct.
Great. Thank you. Is there any comments from the public on the side? Oh, sorry, the questions for staff.
Through you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Roy.
So with the new license, the income that they derive from the games, the golf and things like that can be charged, or that goes toward that 60%?
That is correct.
Okay.
And it can be a combination of, it can be either food services total, like the old bar and grill licenses, 60-40 split, or it can be entertainment or a combination of both.
Other questions for staff? Hearing none. Comments from the public?
Good afternoon, members of the Cheyenne City Council. My name is JB Coons, and I'm here to speak on behalf of Aces Range LLC. A couple of handouts for you. We're really excited to be going into downtown. We're going to bring a new business concept that is world-class to Cheyenne. We're going to offer 8 bays for rent. 6 of them will feature TrackMan golf simulators. 2 of them will feature a infrared laser shooting system with 3 different softwares. We're excited to be working on an escape room add-on concept to our business model that will encompass many interests throughout multiple age groups. We really appreciate your time and we really appreciate your consideration for this application for this liquor license. We feel that libations would definitely help our business model and would be a great contribution to our business model. And I'm open to any questions that you guys may have for me.
JB, I had a question. When do you plan on opening up your establishment?
So right now, Councilman White, we're looking at being open in June. There are a couple mitigating factors, including a HVAC mechanical unit from Trane, the manufacturer, that has already been delayed once. However, it is so far to my knowledge on schedule to be delivered in early May and installed. And that would allow us to meet that deadline of June.
Thank you. Questions for Mr. Coons?
Through you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Roybal.
So the liquor license that if it passes, are you happy with that? I mean, is it tailored for your business?
I think it's a good study, an interim study, and kind of a good compromise between all of the parties to allow for more entrepreneurial endeavors to kind of document and showcase the need for this kind of legislation. And it was like Mr. Mosier said when we were lobbying, we don't need to hit it with a nuke right now. We just kind of go in with a sniper rifle and give it a chance, and we'll have demonstratable evidence of what kind of business concepts can benefit from this entertainment carve out.
So you're okay with being the guinea pig?
What's that?
I said, you're okay with being the guinea pig?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's important, and it's a good way that, we can kind of safely mitigate the either expansion or continued liquor licensing. Thank you.
Other questions from Mr. Coons, Mr. Escabel?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, through you. Mr. Coons, are you gonna offer golf lessons there too?
Yes, sir. With the TrackMan simulators, once I work it out, our point of sale with T-Snap and TrackMan, I will be able to do lessons where we get you in a bay and we record when you're doing your swing correctly, and we can do points on your body that show you. And then not only that, through the technology, you can access that out on the golf course. So if you're having a rough day and not hitting well, you take a video of that swing that you're doing that day, put it side by side of the swing that, when you were doing it well. And that's how the professionals do it, and fine tune their game. And we're going to offer that here. So it really is a world-class facility. And we're really proud to be in Cheyenne.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, based on my first 3 rounds, I'm probably gonna be a client.
I'll probably
Looking
be
forward to
joining
it.
you.
I'm looking forward to it, gentlemen.
Any other comments or questions for Mr. Coons?
Mr. Chairman, Dr. Aldridge does have her hand raised.
Go ahead, Dr. Aldridge.
Chairman White, through you. I wanted to say, as I looked through all the materials you provided, JB, it was really interesting to look at how you plan to crowdsource your menu with those that have membership with you. But I'm also hoping that as you grow your business and expand, that you might consider adding a youth league to your league nights. I noticed that you start out with the high school golf league, but I really do believe there's a growing number of young people under the age of 14 and 15 that are going to be our future golfers. So hopefully we'll see more opportunities for those younger folks that are wanting to join the game of golf as you grow your business. But congratulations, we hope you do well.
Thank you, Councilman Aldridge. And yes, that is something I'm definitely looking forward to doing. If it's not with league nights, it will be youth days where they come in and we kind of introduce them to the game of golf and go from there. And if there is an interest for that, and we have, a bunch of kids who are looking to do that, that is something that we would definitely look into doing and having for the city of Cheyenne.
Any other questions for Mr. Coons? Any other comments from the public? Thanks, JB. Welcome.
Mr. Chairman, it will be very brief. April Brimmer Coons on behalf of ACES Range. I rise to thank you as members of the City Council, and I will do so also if we are lucky enough to proceed further in this process, for the support that was behind all of us. As we met, the mayor was with us and WHAM, and actually the county commissioners, to try and bring a little bit of change. And it is a small carve out, but it's better than nothing. And to bring some change to very antiquated liquor laws. And I noted that when we were one of the 11 who were not successful, and there were 10 of us who were not successful, of course, because you only had 1 license. But thank you for the support. We are really excited. But I will tell you that this goes far beyond the city of Cheyenne. And I have had contacts with several legislators who had things that they want to try this license with. In Albany County, Teton County, several counties where this might be a way for entrepreneurs and smaller business that cannot, we're not a restaurant. We cannot make enough to do the 60%. just on food. We have a warming kitchen, not a commercial kitchen. So thank you for your support in this, and it's a bite out of the apple that I think will serve the state of Wyoming well. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, and thank you for all of the work that you did in the legislative session to bring this about. Much appreciated.
Mr. Chairman, I said I would do it during the course of that particular time frame, and we did. Thank you.
Any other comments from the public? Hearing none, do I have a motion from the committee?
So move.
It's been moved and seconded. Comments from the committee? Hearing none, all those in favor of this application, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
As no one's opposed, that item moves forward. Next item, please.
Number 6B, application for a winery permit application filed with the city clerk's office for the Blue Stem Wine House LLC, doing business as the Blue Stem Wine House, 1909 Warren Avenue, Cheyenne, Wyoming.
Staff report.
Mr. Chair, Chris Jones, City Clerk, the winery application for the Blue Stem Wine House was reviewed and by applicable city departments and the Wyoming Liquor Division staff. If approved, this will be only the second winery permit that we have issued in the city. The first one was issued in 2019 to Vintages. And I'd stand for any questions.
Thanks, Chris. Any questions for our clerk?
Mr. Chair, through you.
Mr. Roybal?
Is there a limited number of winery licenses or we wine all we want? That didn't come out right.
Don't know that and Mr. Chair, I'm not sure that I have that with me, but I can certainly follow up with you. You bet.
Any other questions for Ms. Jones? Hearing none. Comments from the public?
Ms. Erdman, you should be able to unmute yourself. She's on.
Can
mute.
everybody hear me?
Yeah, yes, we can. There's a little bit of an echo, but
I'm
we
here
can.
actually in New Mexico.
Oh, we were with you.
Good,
Go ahead,
sorry,
ma'am.
I am actually in New Mexico. Okay, today we're super excited about our little cottage. We have a 49 limit capacity, so we plan on doing as much as education, wine tastings, wine pairings as possible, you know, along with that takeout room and charcuterie business. We just want people to be face to face and in community with one another. And I am grateful for this opportunity to come before you once more.
Thank you, ma'am. Questions for Miss Erdman? Hearing none. Other comments from the public? Hearing none. Can I have a motion from the committee?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Comments from the committee? Hearing none. All those in favor of this winery permit application, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
As no one's opposed, that item moves forward. Next item, please.
Number 12, ordinance second reading, amending chapter 2.04, mayor and city council within Title II, administration and personnel, and chapter 12.04, streets, sidewalks and driveways generally within Title 12, streets, sidewalks and public places of the municipal code of the city of Cheyenne, Wyoming, to amend provision governing contract approvals.
Staff report.
Good afternoon, Chairman and committee members. I'm TJ Bartlebort, Purchasing Manager for the City of Cheyenne. The proposed ordinance before you seeks to revise the thresholds for contracts requiring governing body approval prior to execution. These changes are being brought forward as a result of Senate File 164, which was recently passed by the legislature and went into effect April 1st of 2023. This Senate file changed the advertised bidding threshold for public improvements from $35,000 to $75,000. In the interest of clarifying and simplifying city code, all approval thresholds are proposed to be brought to 75,000. I would refer you to the second page in your packet, which is the color coded table. This will show you what the current thresholds are and what we're proposing via this ordinance. The types of contracts that would be subject to having approval thresholds raised include public improvements, professional services, revenue generating contracts, curb and gutter repairs specifically in the DDA district, and contract amendments. Due to ongoing inflation, the cost to conduct business is continually growing. Passage of this ordinance will allow departments a greater ability to expedite and execute projects up to $75,000 without advertised bid. Additionally, changes to the city purchasing policy will be implemented upon passage of this ordinance to update and revise the quote threshold. So currently, if we're purchasing less than 35,000, it's from $5,000 to $35,000. You have to have 3 quotes. We're proposing that that will follow with this. It'll go from 10,000 to 75,000. So that's a big leap from how we've done this previously. So thank you for your time. Happy to answer any questions you have.
Thanks, TJ. Stand by. Questions for Mr. Bartlebort? And TJ, correct me if I'm wrong, I think that the inflation and kind of just the logjam that was creating was the main purpose for bringing about the change in legislation. Was that correct?
Chairman, through you, that's correct. The doing bids for things over 35,000, you're pretty much going to be doing a bid for everything. I mean, there's just not much you can buy of any substantial nature for that amount these days. That's correct.
Thank you. Mr. Roybal. It does. If there are no other questions for Mr. Bartlebort, are there comments from the public? Hearing none, do I have a motion from the committee? It's been moved and seconded. Comments from the committee? Hearing none, all those in favor of this ordinance on second reading, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
As no one's opposed, that item moves forward. Next item, please.
Number 13, ordinance second reading, amending ordinance number 4429, updating the City of Cheyenne solid waste fee schedule.
Staff report.
Vicky Nemechek, Public Works. This is our annual update to the solid waste fee schedule. I did send out to all of the council members and the mayor the information about this, and I will read through the list of changes, the summary of changes. The Wyoming Department of Environmental Quality requires municipalities to update our integrated solid waste management plan every 10 years. The full cost accounting process conducted in 2019 is a part of that plan and resulted in the following recommended rate increases for FY 2024. Residential trash and recycle, 1% increase. Commercial trash, 3%. Commercial recycle, 5%. Landfill per ton, 3%. Transfer station disposal, 2%. Roll-off containers, 3%. And yard waste service, 1%. And those adjustments came based on looking at each service and determining how much those services, each of those services cost and how much we were actually collecting in revenue. So we are adjusting those differently so that in the 10-year period, each of those services will be paying for itself. Right now, for example, residential service is paying for part of the commercial collection services or yard waste collection services and those kinds of things. We're just trying to get those leveled out so that what we're actually charging is what it costs to provide the service. And then I'll go on with the other changes that we're including in this. Other changes include addition of the following fees, a return to service blocked container, or a reset or relocate the container. So if we have to go back because the container was blocked by a parked car, or the container wasn't in the place where it's supposed to be, or we need to go back and move that container. So we are adding a fee to the fee schedule that for us to go back and do that. We are adding a contamination fee for unbagged trash. We are seeing a lot of unbagged trash. We can see in our new Fleet Mind service. You can see when the containers are dumped, you can see what's coming out. And we're finding that many of our trash customers are not bagging their trash. So that results in a lot of litter, a lot of a mess, a lot of things where all of the items don't fall out of the container. They stick in the container, dirty containers, smelly containers. So we are adding that contamination fee for unbagged trash. We're adding the recycle container lid lock, dumpster locking bars, dumpster locking casters, replacement padlocks are key for the dumpster locking bar. We're adding removal, storage, or disposal of containers that are illegally placed within the city limits. That has become a problem recently where some of our public waste commercial providers are putting containers inside the city, and they are not able to do that by state statute. We have the ability to control that, and our ordinance states that we will. And we also added event pricing. We also clarified special attention services that requires customers to certify there is not an able-bodied person living in the home. So we had some people that had multiple containers, and we were concerned that that was a problem with our guys spend a lot of time going back and forth getting those containers, recycle trash. And so special attention is really a complimentary service that we provide for those who are not able to take their containers out. And we feel if there's an able-bodied person in the home that lives in the home that is able to provide that service, that they should in fact provide that service. So we are also limiting this complimentary service to one trash and one automated container. They can have additional containers, and we will service those as special attention, but we would like some justification from the folks about what might be the cause of that. And then we're adding a small additional fee. And that I did want to tell you just give you just a few examples of what these fee increases look like. On an average customer in residential, a 95 trash, 95 recycle is a 31-cent increase. Yard waste is a 10-cent increase. Commercial 3 times a week service is a $6.45 increase, and those are all monthly fees. The landfill will increase by $2.25 per ton. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thanks, Vicky. Stand by. Questions for Ms. Nemechek? Vicky, I had a question when you on the fee schedule where it says event pricing, and then it says see note 17, and then under note 17, it gives the comments that you should contact your office for 10 days prior to the event, but there's really no information regarding on what that pricing would be. Would that vary based on the event?
It does, but we base it on the actual solid waste fee schedule anyway. We take what the price of a cart is, divide it out by how many days or how much volume they would be using. So we base it on the fees that already exist. So we just wanted to make sure that people are letting us know in a little in advance. We've been in the past years, we've received calls the day prior. That's very difficult to come up with a crew to manage that system and come up with carts, dumpsters, those kinds of things. So we're just asking for a little bit of time. Time is a good word.
Thank you for that clarification.
My pleasure.
If there are no other, go ahead, Dr. Aldridge.
Yes, thank you, Chairman White, through you. Vicky, I had a couple of questions. One is, I noticed that you are wanting all recycling bagged as well. Is that correct?
No, that is not correct. But recycling cannot be bagged. If it is bagged, it will end up in the trash.
Okay, because on the list that I'm looking at, I will have to take a look here, but it actually has recyclables listed with the bagging fee? Because I noticed that there's a fee I'm guessing if scattered trash is collected, that there's a $40.52 charge for every 15 minutes that it takes someone to pick that trash up. And then there's the price of 24, I thought I saw here, $24.59. Yeah, it says 60 or 95 gallon contamination fee for trash / yard waste / recycle or unbagged trash per occurrence. I'm
Yes,
just wondering, go ahead.
or unbagged trash. So that is just an added, we've added the unbagged trash. It doesn't apply to the trash, yard waste, recycle. It applies only to the trash.
Trash, okay. And
Unbagged trash.
is that a new fee?
It's not a new fee, but we did add the piece that says or unbagged trash.
Okay, and how often are we assessing that fee?
Not, really, we haven't been doing that until recently when we could see what's going on with those. Now that we have video all around the truck, and when the containers are dumped, you can see exactly what's being dumped. So if we notice that there's contamination, we are starting to get the drivers to make a note of that, and we will start charging a contamination fee. The only time we've charged it at this point is when somebody calls and says, you didn't fully empty my container. And then we go out there and we find that there's this gob of goo in the bottom of the container, or which everything sticks to, or there's a box that has tape all over it that's stuck to the side, or there's just stuff stuck in the bottom, just junk that didn't come out because frankly, it wasn't bagged, and the bags should fall out freely. So that's the only time we've been charging at this point.
And a follow-up question, Chairman White. The dumpster pickup and cleaning per container at $51.82. I know you and I have talked about this because I commonly have my container picked up once a year and cleaned by your team, and then they bring it back. But this is not just for dumpsters, it's also for the 60 and 95 gallon containers as well, correct?
Actually, we have a separate cleaning fee for the smaller residential containers. And I'm trying to see where that is.
Yeah, I was just looking at, it's up above 1643.
Yes, yes.
And then my last question is on note 17 that Chairman White asked about. I'm just curious, you said that the event waste collection would be based on the container size and the amount, the calculation you do. But it looks to me like a lot of times people may be charged a minimum of the $50 because their order might be under 300. And if they called with less than 10 days, then it may be another $12.50 on that. So a minimum of about $62.50 if they don't call with 10 days ahead and they have a small amount of trash.
Dr. Aldridge, so the $50 is an administrative fee for our administrators to make all of that happen, to take the orders, prepare the work orders. And we charge a percentage if it's over $300. We charge a flat $50 if the order is under $300, which is fairly rare.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Vicky. Thank you, Dr. Aldridge. Other questions for Ms. Nemechek?
Chair,
Mr. Escobar.
one of the things that I found out recently on the hazardous waste was that they don't accept latex paint anymore. They only accept oil-based paint. So now they're requiring people to get kitty litter, fill the paint up to the top with kitty litter, and then put the can into another bag. Is that correct?
Vicky Nemechek, latex paint, yes, that's correct. Latex paint is very expensive to take if you take it via household hazardous waste, because we pay a lot of money for someone to come in and take away, to deal with, pack up, package everything latex, all of our household hazardous waste. So we want to keep only those things that are actually hazardous in that waste stream. Latex paint is not hazardous, it's water-based. So we require you to put it in your regular trash. However you want to dry it to put it, to get it into that waste stream, because we have to pass the paint filter test, which is you can't have it, you can't dump a bunch of liquid into the landfill. It's like dumping hundreds of gallons of milk in there, spoiled milk. We have to pass the paint filter test, so that item has to be dried out. So you can do that. We recommend that if you want to do it quickly, you can put sand, dirt, kitty litter, anything you like to dry it out and make it solid. So it's really a question of economics more so than we don't want to inconvenience people. But that latex paint is not hazardous and it can go in the regular landfill, but it must be dry.
Just to follow up, Mr. Chair, that I guess in with our public service, I know we're doing a much better job with that, about letting people know exactly how this system works. About the part about contamination in the regular trash bins where they're not bagged. I suppose once people get fined for it, they'll realize, you know, that we have that, but I would like to see a little bit more public service announcements out there that really let people know exactly what goes in which container and how it goes in and what is actually should be taken to the transfer station, both for household furniture and the things that they can drop off there and this hazardous wastes as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Stand by, Vicky. Comments or questions from members of the public?
Michael White, through you, Mr. Chairman. I have a question about if I heard Vicky right, about the roll-offs. I know there's a bunch of us that have construction companies and roofing contractors. Does that mean anytime there's a house being built or emptied out or a roof put on a house that we have to go to the city roll-offs?
Vicky, got an answer for us on that?
Vicky Nemetchek, Public Works. There is a place in the ordinance, the only people that can, for waste services that can operate in the city. The ordinance says that if you annually come, send a letter to the city of Cheyenne, transfer station, and tell us what your containers look like, they're identified, tell us what color they are, your phone number has to be on the container so that in case there's a fire or something that we can call. But yes, we do allow private roll-off containers only 10 yards and larger within the city of Cheyenne. Commercial people can do that.
Thank you. Other comments or questions from the public?
Mr. Bloom, you should be able to unmute yourself.
Hello?
Hello, Chair, members of the committee.
Charles?
Sorry, I'm sorry. What was the question?
There was no question for you there. Oh, your apparently your hand was raised, Charles.
Apologies. Sorry, my hand was inadvertently raised. Apologies.
Okay. Thank you, Charles. Glad we could clear that up for you. Other comments or questions from the public? Hearing none, do I have a motion from the committee? It's been moved and seconded. Comments from the committee? Hearing none, all those in favor of amending the solid waste fee schedule on second reading, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
No one's opposed. That item moves forward. Next item, please.
Number 18, resolution reappropriating the fiscal year 2023 budget of the city of Cheyenne according to the provisions of Wyoming State Statute 16-4-112 and 16-4-113.
Staff report.
Good afternoon, Robin Lockman, City Treasurer. Before you is the fifth reappropriation of the fiscal year 2023. I've already provided a detailed memorandum to you, but I will highlight the general fund reserve requests. As you are well aware, the municipal court caseload has increased substantially over the past 3 years. This has caused us to be continually short in the public defender line item. The governing body approved a little over $110,000 in the current fiscal year budget for this line item. However, by the end of January, we've already spent $158,000. Last year in fiscal year 22, we spent $157,000 total. And then in fiscal year 21, we only spent $54,000. To get a handle on these rising costs, the city will be hiring a full-time public defender to start in May. Stephanie Boster is available if you have more specific questions on this request. The second request is from general fund reserves is the salary and benefits for 3 months of this current fiscal year for our new senior accountant that was hired in my department at a cost of $33,173. As indicated in my memo, between the OpenGov software conversion, the new Financial Data Transparency Act requirements, as well as the increased level of accounting regulations and federal grants that the city has, Brenda and I are just having a tough time keeping up on everything. We did hire Sarah Crone, and she's actually here in the audience with us today. She's right behind Jason. And she's a CPA, and she previously worked at MHP as our audit supervisor. And then finally, $50,000 is requested to pay Art Cheyenne for the recently approved MOU that was approved back in February. Thank you, and I will stand for questions.
Thanks, Robin. Stand by. Comments or questions for Ms. Lockman? Comments or questions from members of the public? Oh, Dr. Aldridge, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Thank you, Chairman White. I just had a quick question about the $1,500 miscellaneous agency fund reserves request to be moved to the Cheyenne Angel account for engraving services. I'm not familiar with the Cheyenne Angel account.
Go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, through you. That is an account that helps pay for a headstone or a placard for baby graves or for children's graves.
Well, thank you.
I think Mr. Sanchez, can you provide some more information on that?
Sure. Jason Sanchez, Community Rec and Events. In the cemetery, we have a memorial wall on the east side of the cemetery. Families can purchase stones. They're stone, have them engraved, and that is used as a memorial for families. We have X amount of dollars in the fund reserve. And then we budget what we think we're going to use or spend each year. And that spend is dictated on how many requests we have for tiles to be engraved. This year, we had more requests than what we had originally budgeted. So we're just moving funds from the fund reserve for that wall and placing it in the authorized spending.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sanchez. Thank you, Robin. Comments or questions from the public? Hearing none, do I have a motion from the committee?
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded. Comments from the committee? Hearing none, all those in favor of this reappropriation resolution, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
As no one's opposed, that item moves forward. Next item, please.
Number 20, resolution authorizing submission of an application to the Wyoming Department of Transportation for a Wyoming Rural Public Transportation Program grant to provide a local match for operating funds for the city of Cheyenne for its transit program.
Staff report.
Renee Jording, Cheyenne Transit. The resolution before you is to allow us to apply for state funds that we use to match our 5307 federal grant. This is an annual application, and we're just asking for your approval to submit, and I'm available for any questions.
Thanks, Renee. Stand by. Comments or questions for Ms. Jording?
Just one on this, we submit every year. Do we receive the funds every year?
We do every year.
Nice.
Other comments or questions? Dr. Aldridge.
Chairman White, through you. First and foremost, I just wanted to say I really appreciate the efforts that go into writing a grant to try and provide more funding for these really important transportation services. So thank you for taking that initiative and working with I'm guessing Renee Smith, our grant writer, to make this happen. But I am curious if this is, I know that on item number 22, we're going to be doing, you've got a proposal to do a contract modification to contract number 7625, which also looks like it's a rural public transportation grant. And so I'm just wondering if this is a similar grant or just a different year.
It is the same grant. That the one we're looking at now is for applying for fiscal year 24, and the one that we're modifying is for this fiscal year. They're removing the verbiage that required match.
Great, thank you.
Thank you for that clarification. Comments or questions from members of the public? Hearing none, do I have a motion from the committee? It's been moved and seconded. Comments from the committee? Hearing none, all those in favor of this resolution, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
As no one's opposed, that item moves forward. Next item, please.
Chairman, can I just remind Councilman Roybal and Councilman Escobar to use their microphones when they're making motions so that Dr. Aldrich can hear you? Thank you. Item number 21E, agreement for the purchase, sale, and exchange of lands between the City of Cheyenne and Sun Valley Estates LLC for the exchange of real property, 15,365 square footage from the City of Sun Valley from the city to Sun Valley Estates LLC and 15,366 square feet from Sun Valley Estates LLC to the city, both having an appraised value of $100,000 and generally located south of Riley Drive.
Staff report.
Chairman White, members of the committee, Jean Vetter, Parks and Greenway Planner. The MOU outlining responsibilities for the proposed property exchange with Sun Valley Estates LLC, contract number 7642, was approved by council and signed by the mayor on November 29th, 2022. Since this time, all responsibilities of both the city and the developer have been met. The plat for this project was approved by council on February 27th, 2023. Pursuant to Wyoming statute 15-1-112, staff has completed all steps associated with the disposal of city-owned real property for the purposes of trading property for a future greenway corridor and trail. City staff has reviewed and approved the associated property as outlined in the City of Cheyenne checklist for disposal trade of real property. Pursuant to Wyoming statute 15-1-112B, 11, an advertisement of the proposed trade has been published for 3 weeks in the local newspaper, March 11th, 18th, and 25th. An announcement of a public hearing is included on this agenda, was included on the agenda at a city council meeting for public comment. The trade sale agreement has been reviewed by all interested parties. Once approved by the governing body and signed by all interested parties, the process will proceed to closing for final execution. I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Stand by, Jeannie. Comments or questions for Ms. Vetter? Hearing none, comments or questions from members of the public? Hearing none, do I have a motion from the committee?
Mr. Chair, I move to approve.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Comments from the committee? Hearing none, all those in favor of this purchase agreement, please signify by saying aye.
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 As no one's opposed, that item moves forward. Next item, please.
Number 21F, memorandum of understanding between Laramie County, the City of Cheyenne, and the Cheyenne Board of Public Utilities, the Cheyenne-Laramie County Board of Health, and the Cheyenne Regional Airport regarding the management of the ESRI Enterprise Agreement.
Sorry, staff report. And then there you go.
Thank you, Chairman, members of the committee. My name is Jordan Evans. I'm the coordinator of the Cheyenne-Laramie County GIS Cooperative. This is will be our 4th renewal of a 3-year term for the licensing for our GIS software. It's the underpinning for all of the mapping software that happens not only in the city of Cheyenne, but at Laramie County, the Health Department, the Board of Public Utilities, the MPO, and the Airport Board as well. the price has gone up because of our population increase. This software company bases based off of your most recent census numbers. Since we broke 100,000, our price has risen accordingly, but we will also get more licensing and storage credits to go with that as well. And I'd happily answer any questions.
Thank you. Stand by. Questions? Hearing none, comments or questions from members of the public? Do I have a motion from the committee?
Mr. Chair, I move to approve any amount not to exceed $103,500.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Comments from the committee? Hearing none, all those in favor of this MOU, please signify by saying aye.
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 As no one's opposed, that item moves forward. Next item, please.
Number 21G, telecommunications right-of-way license and use agreement between the city of Cheyenne and AT&T Corp.
Staff report.
Members of the Finance Committee, Stephanie Boster, Cheyenne City Attorney. What you have before you is a telecommunications right-of-way license and use agreement between AT&T Corporation and the City of Cheyenne. This is our standard use agreement that we use with all of our telecommunications agency. We've got to treat all of these telecom companies similarly. So this is the exact same agreement. We really don't have the ability to change the price. I do understand from the city treasurer's office that we're average throughout the state. But with that, I'm open to questions.
Stand by. Comments or questions for Ms. Foster? Mr. Roybal?
Just a quick question. AT&T, is this the first time we've done business with them or is this a continuation?
Mr. Chairman, through you to Councilman Roybal, we've been doing business with AT&T for a long time now. However, some of these agreements have expired in the past. So the city attorney's office is working on renewing these, and this is one of those. And AT&T might be on the phone. I'm not really certain, but if they are, I would open them up for comment. I don't believe I see them. No. But no, we've been working with them for a long time.
Thank you. Stephanie, comments or questions from members of Dr. Aldridge?
Chairman White, through you, I'm just curious on 4B. It has the annual 75 cents per linear foot of conduit or related facility in the public right of way use fee due beginning January 1st, 2020 for all existing installations. Are we backdating this, or what's the reason for going back to January 1st of 2020 in an agreement that will be signed in 2023?
Mr. Chairman, through you, yes, we are backdating this. The agreement had expired, but they've been working in our right of way for some time now.
And a follow-up question, Chairman White, will we then be collecting the fees back to January 1st of 2020?
Mr. Chairman, through you to Dr. Aldridge, that is the intention, yes. And we've done that with another telecommunications company as well.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Comments or questions from the public? Hearing none, do I have a motion from the committee?
Mr. Chair, I move to approve.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Comments from the committee? Hearing none, all those in favor of this telecommunications agreement, please signify by saying aye.
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 As no one's opposed, that item moves forward. Next item.
Number 22B, contract modification number 1 to contract number 7625 for the agreement between the city of Cheyenne and the Wyoming Department of Transportation, WYDOT, for a Wyoming Rural Public Transportation Grant to assist in providing a local match for operating funds for the transit program for fiscal year 2023.
Renee, I think you provided some previous comments, but we'll ask you to do so again just for the record.
Yes, Renee Jordan Transit. The purpose of this amendment is to remove the verbiage from the fiscal year 23 funding agreement that required us to provide match. It had no dollar amount in it. It was just left blank. So they are actually amending the contract to now show that these funds no longer require a match. I'm available for any questions.
Stand by. Thank you. Questions or comments for Renee? Mr.
Mr.
Roybal?
Chair, was there ever a percentage or a match number or any of that, or has this just been we didn't match anything for?
We have never matched this grant. This money is always 100% state funds for us to use as matched for our federal grants.
Okay.
Other questions? Hearing none, do I have comments or questions from members of the public? Hearing none, do I have a motion from the committee?
Mr. Chair, I move to approve.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Comments from the committee? Hearing none, all those in favor of this contract modification, please signify by saying aye.
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 As no one's opposed, that item moves forward. Next item.
Number 23C, consideration of bid number E-16-23 for a city network operations core layer 3 switch replacement from 2019 to 2022 optional 1% sales tax fund.
Staff report.
Dustin Swalla, City IT. So before you is replacement hardware for our layer 3 networking switch for the city. It's basically the brain for all the networks that run into the city. So every remote site and everything has a network that runs through this piece of hardware. So it's fairly important. Our current networking core is approaching EOL. So we're just looking to upgrade it. I'll stand for questions.
Stand by. Questions for Dustin? Hearing none. Comments or questions from the public? Hearing none, do I have a motion from the committee?
Mr. Chairman, I move to accept the bid from High Country Workplace Technologies, Arvada, Colorado, in an amount not to exceed $70,777.39.
Second.
What do we get for 39 cents?
It's a lot of sevens.
Yeah,
It's been moved and seconded. Comments from the committee?
beats having a lot of sixes.
Hearing none, all those in favor of this big consideration, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
That item moves forward. Next item, please.
Number 23D, consideration of bid number E-17-23 for the surplus sale of one used reel grinder and one used bed knife grinder.
Staff report.
Jason Sanchez, Community Rec and Events. Recently, our golf division purchased a new reel grinder and bed knife grinder. And at that time, we did not ask for a trade for our existing units because often the quotes we get are pretty low valued. So we thought we'd get a better investment or return on investment if we just sold them outright following the purchase of the new units. And so that's what this is. We went out to bid and we received a bid proposal from Mallow Johnson for $10,000 for the old units. And the revenue would go back to backfill the golf fund that we paid for the new units from. And I'll stand by for questions.
Makes sense. Comments or questions for Mr. Sanchez? Hearing none. Oh, Dr. Aldridge, go ahead.
Thank you, Chairman White. I just wanted to say that I sure appreciate you doing this. It takes a little bit more work on your team's part, but appreciate every opportunity that you take to make sure we're getting as much of a out of our resources we can. So thank you.
Thank you. Comments or questions from members of the public? Hearing none, do I have a motion from the committee?
Mr. Chairman, I move to accept the bid from L.L. Johnson Distributing Company of Denver, Colorado in the amount of $10,000.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Comments from the committee? Hearing none, all those in favor of this big consideration, please signify by saying aye.
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 That item moves forward. Next item.
Number 23E, consideration of bid number E-18-23 for a professional services agreement between the city of Cheyenne and Vector Disease Control International, VDCI, for mosquito site testing and mosquito larvicide application.
Staff report.
Mr. Chairman, Stephen Trowbridge, City of Cheyenne Weed and Pest. This agreement would provide all of the labor, equipment, vehicles necessary to do biweekly inspections of about 400 mosquito breeding sites across the city from early May into October, depending on environmental conditions. I will stand for any questions.
Thank you. Stand by. Questions for Mr. Trowbridge? How many breeding sites are there? Are there 400 or are there more?
We have about 400 that we consistently check, but we're always looking for new ones.
Thank you. Comments or questions from the public? Hearing none, do I have a motion from the committee?
Mr. Chairman, I move to accept the bid in an amount not to exceed $111,334.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Comments from the committee?
Chairman White,
Go ahead, Dr. Aldrich.
are we only accepting this bid for 1 year? Because I'm showing a 2-year total of $222,668.
TJ, want to shed some light on this?
Chairman White, through you to Dr. Aldrich, that's correct. This was a 2-year pricing option bid. The $111,000 cost is for 1 year. We are looking for approval for 2 years total. So it would be double that amount, please.
So the change in the motion?
Yes, we'll need it. We'll need to make a change in the motion and have the revised amount.
68.
For their calculators.
Mr. Chair, movement to accept the bid not to exceed $222,668.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to accept the revised amount. Do you have that on the record, Jen? Great. Good catch, Dr. Aldrich. Comments from the committee on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the bid consideration, please signify by saying aye.
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 No one's opposed. That item moves forward. Next item.
Number 23F, consideration of bid number S-18-23 for an agreement between the city of Cheyenne and S&S Builders LLC for the Greater Cheyenne Greenway Commons retaining wall reconstruction from 2017 to 2021 specific purpose option tax fund.
Staff report.
Chairman White, members of the committee, Jean Vetter, Parks and Greenway Planner. The bid you're looking at is for repair of a wall that's falling down on our greenway. It's essentially behind Stillwater Avenue, a shopping center called the Greenway Commons, just north of the airport. So TJ helped us put a bid out, and we had 2 bidders respond to the bid. S&S Builders came in with the low bid for $153,155.00. And we plan to use, we will be cleaning up our 2017 6-penny taxes for greenway maintenance, and then using the 2021 taxes to get it finished up. And I'd be happy to answer any questions you have.
Stand by, Jimmy. Mr. Roybal.
Mr. Chair, through you. So you just stated that the special purpose, the 2017, you'll be using the rest of that.
That's the intent, to finish that up, and then we'll move to the 2021.
What do we have in the 2021? You know?
I don't have that information on me right now. Jason?
Mr. Chair, Jason Sanchez, Community Rec and Events. The ballot was approved for $2.5 million of maintenance funds for the 2021 ballot. Like Jeannie said, we're just finishing off the remainder of our 2017 before we transition into the new maintenance dollars.
Other questions for Jeannie? Dr. Aldrich.
Yes, Chairman White, through you. Jeannie, I'm familiar with that part of the Greenway, and I'm just curious, are we doing just a concrete retaining wall, or is it a decorative stone retaining wall? I couldn't see in the contract any list of materials or things that we had done. I'm guessing that was in the request for proposals that we put out.
Chair, through you to Dr. Aldrich. This will be a very heavy, large retaining wall concrete block. So it should hold up a lot better than the old wooden retaining wall we had in there originally.
Great, thank you.
You bet.
Jeannie, just one question. Will the Greenway be closed in any of the route while this work is completed?
Actually, Chair, we have an opportunity on this particular project that we can roll up. There's existing sidewalk on either side of the wall. So users will be able to roll up into the parking lot, which we have a temporary access easement for, and then roll back down and hopefully miss the whole construction project. I would expect it'll take at least a few weeks to complete.
Yes, great. Well, that's good to know. And I saw that the project would be completed no later than October 1st, so that's good.
Correct.
Any other questions for Jeannie? Any comments or questions from the public? Hearing none, do I have a motion from the committee?
Mr. Chairman, I move to accept the bid in the amount not to exceed $153,155.00.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Comments from the committee? Hearing none, all those in favor of this bid consideration, please signify by saying aye.
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 No one's opposed. That item moves forward. Next item.
Number 23G, consideration to purchase between the city of Cheyenne and Econolite for traffic controller cabinets, controllers, and conflict monitors for the city of Cheyenne Traffic Division from 2019 to 2022 optional 1% sales tax fund.
Staff report.
Vicky Nemechek, Public Works. This is some equipment that we need to update our traffic signal system. It is a sole source purchase through Econolite. Econolite is the sole source provider that works with our current traffic control system. The request is for 15 controllers, 40 conflict monitors, and 4 cabinets at a cost of $127,247.62, and I recommend approval.
Stand by. Questions for Vicky? Hearing none, comments from the public? Hearing none, do I have a motion from the committee?
Mr. Chair, I move to approve in the amount not to exceed $127,247.62.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Comments from the committee? Hearing none, all those in favor of this consideration to purchase, please signify by saying aye.
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 No one's opposed. That item moves forward. As there are no other items on the agenda, meeting is adjourned. Have a great day.